as well as the two sister communities that I come from near Navrongo, that is Mirugu and Kandega.
Okay.
That's where I come from.
Okay.
Yeah, so the people of Mirugu and Kandega are saying hi.
Very interesting place in Avrongo.
Yes.
Yes.
These two communities have produced very prominent people.
Okay.
The Justice Atoba
okay.
is from that place. He's my cousin.
Okay.
You know that Raymond Atoba, Professor Raymond Atoba, who's the dean of, he was.
Yes, and
he's also from Mirugu.
Okay.
And of course, the pro vice chancellor.
Okay.
Of University of Ghana,
okay,
Professor Awandare,
okay,
is also from that area. So
it's a small community that has done a lot.
It's a small community, but it has done a lot.
I see.
Yes.
And I still have you in studio. And there was something you said yesterday that still strikes a chord with me.
Yes.
You said that if the MPP had not lost power, would have been moving towards a country that would be practicing more of an aristocracy or feudalism.
Yes.
Now, kindly help us with these two concepts and what they actually do mean. When you say an aristocracy or feudalism, exactly what are those concepts and why are they worrying for you?
Yes, so I will spare the audience of the technicalities.
Okay.
But when you look at an aristocracy, it's more about a government controlled by a few selected people who are privileged in society.
Okay.
And for that matter, is the direct opposite of democracy.
Okay.
Because these few privileged, for whatever reason, that they are privileged, whether it is by, inheritance, by their race or ethnicity, govern in their own interest, so they can take decisions basically without resorting to the rule of law. Okay. It's similar to feudalism, which is something that we can link to some 14th century European societies, but you have similar things in Africa, where this is our monarchical system, where you have a hierarchy of people.
Okay.
Like you have the lords, under the lords you have another group of people, and then it's basically a society structured by a hierarchy of status. Okay. So if you belong to the upper layer, which is the upper, the lords, then you do whatever you want, and then the rest are just supposed to, follow. Okay. And you can decide to treat, the rest of the people at the lower ranks the way you want. And of course, you are also privileged, just like the aristocrats. So it's basically these two systems of government are the direct opposite. They are directly opposite of democracy.
I see.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. What about the MPP administration made you reach that conclusion?
Yes. So if you look at the present behavior of the leaders of that, party, especially, a key example is the minority leader. Okay. If you look at his posture and the way he talks and the way he speaks to people, it just shows that he hasn't even realized that they have lost power. So, this is somebody who is in a position, and when you see his stance, just imagine what he was saying when the chairman Wuntumi was arrested. He was even warning the present government officials that they should be aware that MPP can come to power 2028, and then they will see. Okay. And warning the director of Yoko that he should bear in mind that he's not going to be in power forever. Okay. This is clearly people, and if you see other, the rhetoric about the Chief Justice case, you see that these are people who are living in a world that is completely detached from reality. Okay. To the extent that they don't even realize that there has been change of power and they are no longer in power. So they are completely, they are. I don't want to use this word. It's a bit delusional because the way they behave, it looks like they don't even recognize that there is a new government.
Okay.
So just imagine if they have won the election with this attitude, with this mindset, what would we have been facing today?
But they will also argue, because that's the argument they've made, that what they are fighting is injustice. That they feel that the way some of these things are carried out, it's not the way it's supposed to happen in a democracy. The matter of the Chief Justice, the recent wound to me matter, they suggest that they do not see fairness in the handling of this issue.
Completely baseless. Because if you take the Chief Justice's case, I don't know which is I think the constitutional provision is Article 146.
Yes.
Clearly spelled out that this is what the president is supposed to do when he receives this petition. I'm not a lawyer, but all the legal opinion on this shows that the president is doing exactly what the Constitution requires him to do.
Okay.
Chairman Untumi's case, the law enforcement agencies are doing exactly what the criminal procedures require them to do.
Okay.
So if you are asking, you are lawyers and you seem to think differently, then you are basically trying to circumvent the laws and so that if you were in power, you would have disrespected the Constitution. Because, or you are suggesting that the president now, the incumbent president or the government, are not supposed to govern as with the mandate of the people that has been given to them, emphatically in the 2024 election.
Okay.
So they are basically telling them that you have been voted for, but you are not qualified to govern. So for them, they should still be in power. Because you should recognize that I think this is tried knowledge that these procedures all are in accordance to the rule of law and the Constitution, which is the supreme law of Ghana. So what are the basis of this performance and this style of almost crying wolf when there's no wolf, trying to make the government unpopular, let it look illegitimate, when you know that what is happening is all in accordance with the rule of law?
Okay.
So when you look at that, then you begin to think, do they think that they are a privileged group of people who should always be given the right to govern, like in a feudal system, or in an aristocracy? Okay. So this is not a democratic people who are showing any character of democracy, because democracy requires that those who are supposed to be leaders in the political systems, who have certain qualities, personality qualities, that are really in harmony with democracy. And one of them is that you should be, tolerant of diverse views. You should be prepared to accept responsibility. You should be prepared to be, held accountable. You should show some respect for the people that have voted for you. But by their behavior, it looks like they are not respecting the mandate of Ghanaians, the vote. Elections have consequences. So these 2024 elections, these are the consequences, that there's a change of power, and you should recognize the new political situation. Okay. This is what is required of people who really think that they are Democrat. You should be prepared to accept responsibility, tolerant. But this is not the case. They are just into a different world. That makes me to think that they think that they are lords, they are aristocrats, and they are supposed to be in charge, and not these other guys who are in power now.
Do you see that with the OSP and the Ken Ofori-Atta matter?
Can you imagine what is happening? That you have been given if you are not behaving like an aristocrat or a lord, how can you be giving all this long rope? That can you? I always laugh because of what I am. I am aware of the law enforcement with my background in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Very minor offenses. When people are arrested and they are taken through all these procedures, minor offenses, they are not even given the chance to report. You are arrested and detained, and then the processes and the procedures are followed. But these people, he's given a long rope to go and seek medical help. He's giving a date, and now the date is here. He says, I will appear virtually.
Yeah.
Basically claiming, oh, I'm a special person, I'm a privileged person, and I am an aristocrat or a lord, so you should treat me special. Otherwise, how can you make that request that I want to appear virtually? It doesn't lie in your authority to decide how you appear. You are being investigated. You are supposed to be arrested and taken through the procedures like any other person. The rule of law means that nobody is above the law. You should be treated just like you can be the president. When you commit a crime, you'll be treated like a farmer. Excuse me to say, farmers are very important, but we tend to look down upon them. So it means that if you are a president and you are found to have committed, or you are suspected to have committed an offense, you are going to be taken through the same procedure, and that is where the rule of law is seen to be applied. In the developed countries where, as you are aware, if you say you are an elite class and you think that you will see yourself sleeping in jail, because the policeman doesn't have understanding that you are different, because he's taught that everybody must be treated equally. But here, sometimes, because of the culture in which we find ourselves, in the sense that we respect elders and we respect people who hold positions, these people now stretch it to the point that they consider themselves as aristocrats or even lords over us.
Because there are those, if you look at the whole, everything that's happened thus far, and yesterday I was going through some of the messages that was being sent to me by those who are watching, and I realized that there's not so much trust in the OSP.
Yeah.
And there's also the suggestion that he himself has given him Ken Oforiatta the aristocratic treatment.
Yes.
So he is just overreaching. So now that you've treated him specially 3 months, you give him a 3 months period, which you will not have given the ordinary person.
Yes.
So he feels special and wants to be treated special. Do you think that the OSP also got it wrong with the way he's handled this issue?
I think so, because we are talking of equality before the law, that nobody is above the law. So would he have done the same thing to me and you? That's the question, the fundamental question to ask. Yeah. And obviously it will be no, because of who we are. We are not in that aristocrat class. So he wouldn't have done the same thing to you or me if we were in that position, even for very minor offenses. Okay. So why will he then give this particular person this, dispensation, give him this preferential treatment? And then it seems to be that he's probably playing the aristocratic game of seeing that some people are more equal than others. But here you are, even he's now seeing that despite that, preferential treatment that he gave to him, he even feels more of an aristocrat than what the special prosecutor has given him. And this is where the special prosecutor is saying, no, this one I have to pull back and make sure that the right thing is done. So,
but you are okay. So you spent some time in the Ghana Police Service.
Yes.
Do you see a difficulty with the case the OSP is confronted with? Because here you have a suspect. You had written to this suspect to appear before you realized he was out of the country, and his lawyers were now responding to you.
Yes.
This suspect is abroad. you have to get this suspect to come and appear in person, like he said.
Yes.
But first of all, is it necessary that for a criminal investigation you have the person appear in person? What's wrong with the video recording thing that is proposing?
I don't want to say you are asking an aristocratic question because it's very, very necessary. If you commit an offense, or if you are suspected to have committed an offense, the police procedures or the criminal procedures, I'm not a lawyer, but if I remember very well, require the police to investigate.
Yeah.
So in investigating, you have to arrest the person on suspicion of the commission of a crime, or even about to commit a crime. It's then after arrest, then through the investigation, you establish whether there is a case for the person to answer or not. All these procedures allow the police to arrest first. An arrest is arrest. You deprive the person of his freedom. And this is what the criminal procedures allow the police, give the police these powers to do that, but with some procedures that should be followed, which is that you inform the person that he has been arrested, inform the person that he has the right or she has the right to a lawyer, and then to take the statement, and if it's not such a serious case, you can release the person on bail. And this is what was happening to Chairman Untumi. This is the normal procedure, nothing extraordinary. And then everybody's all over the place crying. So in this case, to answer your question, he is supposed to be arrested. You can't appear virtually. Arrest means you take the person, deny him or her of his freedom, restrict him or her, and subject the person to interrogation. So how can you be free and then be subjected to interrogation?
But do you see a difficulty in this matter? Because the person is not somebody you can easily get your hands on.
Yes.
How much concession can you make in this case? Because he's just sitting there and dictating to you.
Yes.
This is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing. When I'm done, then I will come. How much concession can you give, and what's the best way out of this for the special prosecutor?
Yeah, I can, relate to the difficulty that the special prosecutor is facing, especially within our political context of elitism and all those things. He has to play the game very well. But then he has the powers, and I think he has done the right thing by issuing the red alert, declaring him as a fugitive of justice, and then activating the international protocols for, the arrest of people who are suspected to have committed an offense and they are outside the jurisdiction of the country. Interpol, Ghana, I'm sure, has some agreements or treaties with other countries, I think, including the U.S., maybe extradition, agreements, which allows the Ghana government to contact the U.S. government and say, listen, he's wanted. Bring him back. And if those treaties are working, they will definitely get him here, just like Ghana would do if the U.S. would request it to do so.
Well, if you just join us, we are having studio Professor JASPER AYELAZUNO, who is Associate Professor of Political Science in University of Development Studies.
Yes.
Now, we've spoken to him many times online. We will call him whenever there's an issue where we need his opinion. He will share it with us. And so he indicated to us that he was in town for some business, and we said he should join us in studio this morning for a quick conversation on some issues. We spoke to you on many occasions ahead of the elections.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to start from this point. Where did Nana Ado's administration fail for you? Where did they fail?
Okay.
What was the main ingredient that contributed to their failure?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to be in your studios after a long time. Yes, that government, and I always want to draw this distinction between that particular government led by Nana Akufo-Addo from an MPP government led by, for example, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor.
Okay.
So I don't want to necessarily think that this is a typical MPP government, and that this is person governed in line with the MPP government's party's ideology.
I've heard a lot of that.
Yes.
Even MPP people telling you
yes.
that this type of government is not the kind of government.
So I always tell my MPP friends that you do yourself a good, branding if you just do this. You disassociate yourself from this government, saying this is not the liberalism, the party that believes in liberalism. Where is the liberalism, the party that believes in democracy, when this particular leader was almost governing like a tyrant? Just imagine, governing without, he doesn't even have tolerance for diverse opinion, even within the party. Somebody who is supposed to be a Democrat, just imagine during his time, just imagine the trust in the presidency, the trust in key government institutions that represent the leading organs of democracy. They were all at their lowest level by Afrobarometer's surveys. All low. The judiciary was in its lowest ranking or level in terms of trust and level of corruption. The presidency was almost leading, if maybe second. So clearly, this was in terms of good governance, which means also transparency, accountability, and value for money. Clearly, this has been, his government was the worst in the history of Ghana. So in terms of corruption, he was the worst. And I am passionate about this one because that is the core of governance, which means that leaders and public servants must be serving the public, and all resources of the state must be used to serve the public, not to be channeled into their private pockets. But this is, just imagine the number of scandals. Yes, all governments have had their share of scandals, but we have never seen this before. And that's why I see it as the West government. When it comes to democracy, during his time, we witnessed the backsliding of democracy in Ghana. Just imagine the number of journalists who suffered assault. Some even killed, I think, Ahmed Swali and one other person. And nothing done about it. Nothing. Almost nothing. Just imagine the number of people who were shot dead, including the 2020, about 6 or 7 people were shot dead in Kachima, south, And this president never said anything. Nothing. He never opened his mouth to say anything about this case. Imagine common demonstrator. I am somebody who participates in demonstration. Anytime there was a demonstration, just imagine the brute force that is always unleashed on demonstrators. We have never seen this before. And I've been in the police before, even during the revolutionary time, the period of the revolution. We were supposed to be the operational unit of the police, but we used to work and then approach these demonstrations or demonstrators with the usual procedures that are allowed, that are legitimate. But I didn't see that happening during this month's His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo's time. So the decline in democracy, the level of corruption, and the lack of humility as a leader. Just imagine, he almost looked like a lord in the feudal system, to the extent that his posture, what a sharp contrast from the likes of, even to talk of John Ajekunkufor, His Excellency, for Tamils, he's such so far away from him in terms of humility. the present president. Look at the humility, and all that. But this person, the way he appears, in occasions, even asking chiefs to stand up and greet him and all that. This was a person who was completely taking the country in the wrong direction. And then the economy, completely in shambles during his time. Yet no apologies. People had raw haircuts, and he promised, the lying was too much. He told us less than a month that nobody will get a haircut. And within a month, people had
the haircut will happen, yes.
And no apologies. He never said anything to show remorse, never regretted. And then everybody was whipped in line. And certain key personalities who should have been speaking out, they were all quiet, except a few like Nyaho Tamaklo, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, and other few leading members of the party. And the rest. Yeah. Even the clergy were all quiet. It was so surprising and a bit shocking that we could be cowed to that level of silence. And people thought that we were almost returning to the era of the culture of silence under this man's. So because the freedom of the press rankings, Ghana took a nosedive in Ghana. So all this, the combined effect of all this means that our democracy was almost retrogressing to an autocracy. They call it autocratization. Okay. The erosion of democracy. So when people started talking about that in Africa, they started mentioning Ghana as an example of that, retrogression, which is totally different from what Ghana was known for as a model of a successful democracy in Africa. So, there's a litany of things that, I think we were just saved by the people of Ghana, that really thank Ghanaians for, exercising that kind of well-informed voting that they did. Because I was
2024.
At one point I was almost maybe giving up that people would just go and vote based on party loyalty, but that didn't happen. Okay. And that should send a warning to even the present government that, hey, you cannot take the people of Ghana for granted. You cannot take their mandate for granted. They will, the next day they will fire you, and you are nothing. And they are presently nothing, but they don't even recognize that they are no more in power. So that shows the way in which they were so detached from reality. It's clear that they were so detached from reality and were really just on a slippery slope to something maybe disastrous.
Wow, that's it. And that's a vivid description of what you felt was wrong with the administration.
Yes.
Now, so they failed, and every Ghanaian you speak to, most of them, even some of them admit that they failed. Yeah. From listening to Ghanaians, they failed miserably. Then a new administration walks in. What do you think that administration, what are the lessons for this administration? You mentioned one of them, that they should learn from the results that you cannot take the Ghanaian for granted. Yeah. But what are the key lessons and the things they need to do? Perhaps, because they promised a reset, which a lot of Ghanaians agree with, that where we went to, we need to reset.
Yes.
Exactly what do they need to do? What do you expect them to do?
Exactly the opposite of what happened, and these people were booted out of power. Okay. So, and I'm sure this president is aware of that. So you can see he has taken certain action, like the 120-day contract, social contract. If you go through that social contract, he almost addressed all the things that Ghanaians were angry with the Nana Akufo-Addo-led government. So, for example, if you read the Code of Ethics, which is one of the elements of the 120-day social contract, you see that he has spelled out almost all the things that I mean, it's almost like a manifesto of how not to be like the Nana Akufo-Addo's government and appointees.
Okay.
So clearly, if you take it as your Bible as his appointee, you avoid being an arrogant person. You recognize that you are somebody who is supposed to be accountable to the people, not the other way around. You recognize that you are the servant of the people, not the master. You recognize that corruption will not be tolerated in any form or manner. I mean, unless it is just a beautiful paper, but if this is really implemented and practiced, they are already very, very on a solid ground to so that democracy and transparency and accountability can be practiced and implemented in governance, the governance system of Ghana. Look at the humility of the president. Very calm. I mean, they call it, tolerant. Very emotionally, he's very matured. And you don't see him, when there is something, you see that he handles in a way that shows that he has control over his emotions. He can, negotiate. He's prepared to tolerate opposing views. He respects diversity, and he respects the rule of law. He is prepared to be accountable. I mean, an accountable leader who is prepared to accept criticisms, and he is prepared to learn from his mistakes. If you look at the past 4 months, this is what I'm seeing. So already, I'm not seeing the arrogance, political arrogance. That was almost like a daily experience. Here is the case, you are suffering, you are seeing things that are going bad, and when you want to say anything, they say, oh, you can go to hell. It's like pointing a finger in your face and say, this is what I've done. If you don't want to do whatever you want. This was basically what was happening in the posture of the president, the former president, his appointees, and the communicators. They appear on TV, on radio, and then when they are confronted with very serious issues that Ghanaians are experiencing, economic hardships. Remember, I organized a demonstration, and that was the first time I came here in this studio.
Yes.
The Misim demo. That we won, that things were just not working. That was before the economy collapsed. We were told we should go to hell. So, I mean, it was so exhausting every day. I was almost getting completely exhausted with the system because to the extent that I was almost, as a political scientist, you should always be listening to radio, watching TV to know what is happening in the political field. But it was becoming so irritating to the extent that you may be tempted to move beyond demonstrations, and you may even decide that, okay, either you vote by your feet, which means you migrate to somewhere else, or you have to speak out and then be killed or detained. So this is what is not happening at the moment. So by the posture of the president, by the steps he has taken, in terms of the code of conduct, it seems he has gotten the governance aspects on track. The economy too, you can see, is beginning to pick up. And we are seeing positive signs in terms of reduction in fuel prices. We are seeing a situation where the cedi depreciation has been arrested. Whether it will be sustainable or not, but for now, Ghanaians are enjoying that part. And the gold board is a very significant and very important step taken to address the resource curse, the extraction of our resources without Ghanaians benefiting. That one too is one of the bold and major steps that this president has taken. And I am hoping that he will stay on this course, and his appointees will not disappoint him, because you cannot be everywhere, and that's the problem with leadership. You have to take responsibility for all the things that your appointees do.
Some of which you are not.
You can't guarantee what they will do, because the person is sitting you can't be everywhere. So I mean, I can see that yes, there will be one or two cases, but the response makes a difference. It's not going to call you and say.
That's the important part.
That's the important part.
How you respond when people point out your errors.
Yes. Okay. How do you respond when your appointee is accused of, let's say, being a corrupt scandal? Okay. Do you ask the person, call the person, and reprimand him if it's a minor case, like in the case of in the code of conduct, he has different measures depending on the nature of the the infraction. Okay. So you see, will he do that if somebody is clearly found to be corrupt? Like in the case of, for legal reasons, maybe suspected to be corrupt, like Cecilia Dapa's case. You don't, you fire the person and say, go and face the law. And everybody will see that you are really transparent. But you don't write a letter and say, oh, I'm sure you'll be exonerated. So if the president already exonerates the person, what can the security services do? Because you are told that the president has already told the person that he will be exonerated. So he's basically telling you indirectly that, and knowing the sort of person this president was, that you should be careful not to do beyond what you are supposed to do to, bring this person to book. So, and I'm sure this president will not tolerate that. So I'm sure he has learned from the massive verdict, victory that was given to him, and he is aware that people are really watching him. And I'm sure he's enjoying some goodwill, and the actions he's taking are exactly what the people want him to do. So, all the noises that they feel in the various government are still making, looks like they haven't waken up from their slumber. And before they will know, it's too late for them.
Well, we have about some 30 minutes to go. I'll come back to you because you one of the things we talked about constantly was illegal mining. Yeah. You have done, in fact, we'll spend much more extended time on this when you are getting close to launching the book that you worked with your colleague. Yes. I understand a colleague has since passed.
Yeah, he passed, Dr. Maxwell Aziaba. He passed when the book was about to be published, and I always want to pay respect to him and say that may his soul rest in peace wherever he is.
Well, let me two things to just remind you of, then we'll come to that conversation briefly before, because I promised you I'll bring him back, because they've been looking at two things: state capture, illegal mining, the connection between the two. It's an interesting read. I am still going through the book. It's very, very interesting to go through the book and some of the things you found. But first, if you're looking for authentic, durable, and long-lasting UPVC and HDP pipes, there's only one place to go: Duraplast. They've been doing this for over 50 years. At Duraplast Limited, precision is a virtue that they take seriously. Hence, the consistency in providing with ISO-certified quality UPVC and HDPE pipes for accurate and excellent plumbing or electrical works, including drainage pipes for free flow of water without implosive blockages. For your water storage, Duraplast gives you the ultimate in water storage tank. Water tank is the only water storage tank with a level indicator to help you know the accurate water you have at home and your offices. So call Duraplast today, 0242 818 874 for your water tank and other plastic pipe products. You can locate them at plot number 10, 11, and 12 Dadiban Road, North Industrial Area, Accra North. Or locate the distributor close to you for your authentic Duraplast products. Water tank, water tank. Remember, where Duraplast goes, water flows. Then, of course, I keep reminding you of that 20% discount that's waiting for you at Furniture City. If you need to get furniture urgently, no matter what it is, go to Furniture City. They'll give you fine, bespoke furniture. Plus, you get up to 20% on all purchases. Everything you buy, you could buy up to 20% discount from Furniture City. They are the one-stop shop for all your furniture needs. No matter what you need furniture for, speak to Furniture City and take advantage of the offer. You can find them off the main Spintex Road. They are also in Tama and in Kumasi. Call them on this number 0244 213333 or 0540 314948. Remember, it's 20% off furniture at Furniture City. Furniture City, home of quality furniture. Once again, if you join us, Professor JASPER AYELAZUNO is in studio with us. Associate Professor, Political Science, University of Development Studies. Prof, there's and the concept of state capture, but under the former government is when that concept, everybody kept talking about what we are seeing was state capture.
Yes.
Many people used it, but perhaps when you are saying that, what are you suggesting that the government is doing?
Yes. Thank you very much. And again, this I want to normally, for our audience, I don't want to sound so abstract in terms of academic concepts, which are normally very abstract, but simple. If you look at the state, is the most powerful animal. If I should say so, most powerful.
Most powerful animal.
Yeah, in terms of our society, you just can imagine. I mean, it's very powerful. It's only the state that has the authority, exclusive right over coercive apparatuses of state like police, army, prison, fire service. It's only the state that can, that can form these security agencies. No other individual can have the right to raise an army, a police, So just imagine this. So you can see that all these are under the state. And the state here, let's say the president, because he is the head of state. So he has all these powers and, coercive organs under his control. And if the president with these organs under his control should declare war against unarmed civilian operators of Galamsey, and he's not able, the war, he is defeated in the war, it basically means that the state has been captured by the operators of the Galamsey.
The fact that the president, the state, which the president represents the state, declares a war with people who cannot raise an army, have their own police force, patrol the borders, that if that person declares a war with those operators, individuals with no power,
and yet fails to win the war, you can see the paradox. So how do you understand this paradox? And that's where the state capture theory comes in. It's not just, it cannot be mere corruption. It cannot be mere informality, like we have the informal aspect of society that the state is not regulating. This is more than these things. It cannot be mere what they call neo-patrimonialism, which is another form of perversion in the state. Because in all these perverted forms of the state, if it is not captured, the head of state or even lesser, lower ranking but powerful organs of the state will be able to check all these things. But where the state has been captured, then it means that even the head of state and even the most powerful army is also captured.
I see.
And they are not able to, you just see them, they are deployed as a facade, to actually hide what we termed in the book as the shadow state. So the shadow state is actually powerful, even though you are not seeing it.
So the shadow state, they are, so in the concept of state capture, the shadow state, they are the people who really hold the power.
Yeah, they really hold the power, even though you are not seeing them. They are the the business oligarchs, and then the influential people, party, mostly influential party people, who you will not see in any government appointment, but they are sitting somewhere and just dribbling and pulling and just manipulating the everything behind the scenes.
They
So
form what you call the shadow state.
It's a shadow
what is
state
called
because,
the shadow
because
state.
they are you will see them as an informal state, and its shadow is hidden, but they are more powerful than the formal state. So you see them, they are behind, they are most powerful in terms of our present form of democracy, party politics. These are the financiers of the party that brings the president to power. So they are sitting somewhere and they are telling the president, no, don't send those people to this place because that's where my concession is.
Okay.
And then he can't do anything.
I see.
Yeah, so since simple, just to see the fact that the way I've described it, a very powerful animal, but if it is caged, when a powerful, however powerful you are caged, you are powerless. So, I mean, captured and detained, and, you see when Chairman Untumi came out yesterday, you saw how he was looking completely. You wouldn't believe that that's the same powerful Chairman Untumi.
Yes.
So that's the way it is. I mean, you sound powerful, but once you are captured, you are no longer powerful. And this I saw when I was a police officer. Very powerful people. But when you pick them and you take them to the police station, they become like children. They will see them, some are even crying. So a captured state basically means it's dysfunctional, even though despite all these powerful and cohesive organs of the state, they don't function. That's why the army will be deployed, nothing will happen. Police will be deployed, nothing will happen. And court, the case goes to court, nothing happens. And for that matter, the shadow state is making these things not to happen.
Because under Kufuor, there was the fight against Galamsey 1, fight against Galamsey 2.
He even went to 3.
Yes. But all of this yielded no result.
Nothing. Yielded nothing. I mean, as he kept demobilizing and reforming these operations, Operation Vanguard first, Operation Halt 2, Operation Halt 3, and all those things, the more he reorganizes and re-establishes each operation, the worse the problem gets. And which means that it's just one of the contradictions of the captured state, because you have to be seen, the formal state have to be seen to be doing something as it's supposed to do. But underneath that, under the surface, the shadow state is just too powerful, because it's all just a charade. And so political scientists, using the example of South Africa under President Zuma, there was a family called the Gupta family.
Okay.
They and then the President Zuma and his family were almost like this.
Okay.
So they did whatever they wanted. Had control, access to everything. And what can you do? The person is he and the president, they agree on certain things, and they are almost in the same class and share the same interests. So you remember that when the president went to Kufuor, we cited that case, and then I think Dr. Kenneth Asigbe, who is the leader of the coalition against Galamsey, I think he was sharing that function. The president boldly told him that he's telling him that Chairman Untumi and Akunta Mani was not involved in the mining in the forest. Meanwhile, everything pointed and
to that.
Erastus Asari Donko's report.
Even the minister, his own minister,
all pointed that this is what the person was doing: illegal mining in the forest. Yet the most powerful person who is the head of state, and that's a clear signal of state capture.
Okay.
Says, no, he's not doing anything. So where do you go again? Who can you call on to address the problem?
If power has been captured.
Yet, because the person who is supposed to be the most powerful person has been captured. And he is now defending what he has declared war on. So how can the army be effective? Bear in mind that Ghana army is one of the strongest army and the most professional by international standards. So if they were given the chance to really fight this war in a state that is not captured, this would have been a small problem for them.
I see. Well, like I said, we'll make time and actually go through some of the lessons and everything from the process of putting together the book, some of the things we learned, and some lessons that can be learned by the current administration. I see that we are out of time.
Yes.
So my last question to you is that you seem to find the Gold Board initiative quite interesting.
Yes.
I think, was it the Santini that described this as a creative initiative that creates a new horizon for... Why?
Because the problem, just imagine the gold that have left this country. I mean, since pre-colonial days, through colonialism to post-colonial era, just imagine the gold that we have exported. If they give the nominal figure, you say, Ghana makes about 2 billion in a year and all that. But if you compare it to the tons of gold that have been exported, you see that that's a pittance. So this Gold Board seeks to correct that injustice, that kind of exploitation, where you go and mine gold, leave scars on the communities, on the environment, all terrible scars all over. Yet the gold is not benefiting the communities because it's all taken out. It's almost complete robbery, plunder, they call it. So this is meant, reading the act, I think this is meant to arrest that in the sense that the gold should remain here, if possible, be processed here, instead of exporting it in its raw form. It should be processed here, add value to it, stop smuggling, and actually sanitize the small-scale mining sector by providing them financial services, geological support, and all that, so that they can mine responsibly and sustainably. And then the gold that they get will be sourced and bought from them by the Gold Board, all adding to the gold that the state will have in its possession, and then probably export it. And then by doing that, then we can realize at least close to the full value of the gold that is mined from Ghana. So, I mean, on paper, this is an excellent move. It's long overdue. If you are a government that is determined to really make the vault through mining, responsible mining, this Gold Board is meant to do that. And with good leadership, good corporate governance, I mean, it's going to, really address a whole lot of problems in the country.
Well, the young man who has been given that task is one we know quite well.
Yes.
He's proven to be quite a formidable force when it comes to our politics.
Yes.
Now he has to transition from
that into the UCA for corporate governance, and so far he has been doing well.
Okay.
I mean, the Asantehene commended him, and you can see
how much change does he have to undergo to become what is needed to run the Gold Board? Because everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Quite a combative force in politics.
Yes.
How much change does he need to undergo to become...
the change, sometimes it has to do with our character as human beings. So, I mean, with all the politics and with all the combative nature, what is his character as a human being, as somebody who wants the good of this country?
Okay.
Once you have that good intentions and you are prepared to call people to order, even if it is your own, your own party member or a friend, I mean, things should work. Okay. You don't just say this idea of, oh, this is my party, this is my friend, and all that. Yeah, you are my friend, you are my party member, but the good of the country is the topmost priority. Okay. So I think he has very good intentions, and I'm sure he also has the expertise, being a lawyer, and I'm sure probably maybe he has read a lot about this extractive industry and what the harm it causes to Ghanaians. And I'm sure he's determined, and I'm sure he's given the power, I mean, the free hand to operate by the president. Okay. And he's doing well. I mean, I learned our export of gold is yielding a lot of. So I think this is like a shot in the arm of the state, as President Kufuor said when we discovered oil.
Well, okay, Sammy Jemfi would actually have the opportunity of sharing his experience thus far. Yeah. Today, there's a conference going on called Gold in Motion at Kempinski currently, where they are talking about our gold industry, how we can harness it, and how we can use that as a platform to grow the country. Okay. They are looking at the past, looking at the present, and what future we can build. Okay. So Sammy Jemfi is one of those who addressed the conference. Yesterday was day one, the president and Asantine and others. Oh, wow. Now, so today, Sammy Jemfi is one of those who will address that particular conference. So we'll keep you updated
I will be on the...
yes.
We'll stand by to hear what he will say.
Yes, it will be interesting to you. So we'll keep you updated on what he will say about his experiences thus far. Yeah. And where he's steering the gold board towards with the guidance of the president, because I realize that he's not only the president, the Bank of Ghana, the finance ministry, they are all interested in where the gold board goes.
Yes. Which is very important. If a state is not captured and all these people are on board, you can see that things will work well. So I hope it doesn't get captured.
There are many messages to go through, but unfortunately we don't have time. Ochami Bajimba is up next with a mid-morning show. But just to say a happy birthday to Ohininana Ajay Osei Tutu. Ohininana Ajay Osei Tutu from your dad Otumfor, convener of Crossfire Ghana, to you. And also a belated happy